Hello everyone, welcome to Who Cares, where we're going to discuss and debate the Doctor on his adventures through space and time.
And get ready for this week's episode, which features an Odin that would make Anthony Hopkins roll over in his grave. Wait, he's alive. Here's a clip.
So hello everyone, I am Hugo.
And I am Jake.
And this is Who Cares, and today we're back to talk again about the newest season of Doctor Who.
And today we are discussing episode 5 of season 2 of Capaldi, which is The Girl Who Died, featuring Maisie Williams, which is actually kind of a high-profile guest appearance.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of high-profile guest stars usually on Doctor Who. In fairness to us,
BBC owns everything.
To us, I think it seems more high-profile just because of Game of Thrones, whereas a lot of the actors and actresses who have been on Doctor Who in the past, they're more famous in the UK, so it made more sense to them, and this might not even be a big deal. It just makes more sense for us because, HBO. For the record, I have watched Game of Thrones only through, I think, Season 2 and a little bit of Season 3, so I can't make that many Game of Thrones references, so...
That's fine. All you gotta do is know that the Red Wedding is a thing, and that fuck Joffrey.
So, this episode is interesting. Let me first start by saying we talked about in the first couple episodes that this is the strongest season of New Who as of yet.
Yeah.
And I conceded that there probably will be a couple episodes that I don't like as much. And lo and behold, here is one that I did not like as much. Yeah. I don't know how Jake and I haven't talked at all, so I don't know how he feels about it yet. But I can just say out front, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't as bad as like the bad episodes from last season. Mm-mm. But compared to the first 4 this season that were so strong, this one had me going, oh.
As long as I don't get a kill the moon, my boner doesn't go away, so that's fine. I just want to remain at least half-mast throughout a whole Doctor Who episode. And this had a lot of really good qualities. It had a lot of really neat things. It was just kind of campy. It was much more campy than I expected from Jamie Matheson.
The closest thing I can compare this to is this feels a little bit like this season's Robot of Sherwood, except the main plot in this wasn't even as interesting. The interesting things from this episode were the beginning and end, which really had nothing to do with the plot with Odin as much as that was just a vehicle to get us to the scenes with the Doctor near the end. Also, something else it has in common with Robot of Sherwood is the ridiculous way that they defeat the villain. In Robot of Sherwood, it was the stupid golden arrow. In this one, it was the fucking electric eels, which are not indigenous to the region that Vikings were in at all. And also, I don't know how much people know about electric eels. They're not fucking powerhouses. You can't actually, like...
Yeah, but at least that part of it is, like, use the thing to boost the power, and I'm okay with that part. I understand that they're not indigenous. Fuck it. I don't care.
When they had the Back to the Future moment, though, where, like, the eels created so much electricity, you could see it surging across that wire, and it magnetized the things. It was
you know what I did like, though? It was a very Doctor Who, like, defeat of an army. Does that make sense? Like, I really didn't like the Odin guy at all, because we go in there and he's just kind of, I'm Odin, but I'm not. But I mean, like, who cares? We're a TV show. And then
here's why I don't think that worked as well as it could have. The original actor that was gonna play Odin there was also from Game of Thrones. If you remember the king from the first season, the fat guy.
Oh, really? That would have been awesome.
Yeah, he was gonna be Odin, and he's actually a really good actor. I like that guy, but he had to pull out at the last minute due to, I think it was scheduling conflicts or something.
That may have been a little bit better, but even so, the character was pretty meh. I mean, just in general. It could have been cool, but the thing about that is, if you're going to have it's just an alien reveal, we know it's coming, but, like, milk it a little bit.
I guess.
Make the people believe that Odin is the thing for a little while. Because you had 45 minutes, and you're doing 2-parter, and even though, obviously, the next one's going to take place further in the future, but still, you had time, you could have given that 5 minutes of interaction between the townspeople or the Vikings and Odin, and kind of had, like, this, interaction that would have been better than just a face in the sky.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But other than that, I mean, how can you put him in there, though, really? I mean,
I think if they had milked it too much with the Doctor saying, is it really Odin? Is it whatever? It would have been too much like the last 2 episodes where they were dealing with the ghosts and are the ghosts real, all that jazz.
Well, I don't think he would have ever been convinced, but I think having the people be convinced is better. however they were going to attack it. It didn't work, but it didn't like ruin. It's again, we're not hatching a fucking dragon out of the moon. It's fine.
No,
we're
it's
okay.
It is far from the worst episode. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Like
it was. I would put it on par with Robot of Sherwood. Although I would watch Sherwood before I watch this one, just because I really like their banter.
This episode's staying power largely is going to depend on part 2, because the things that they set up in this episode are actually really interesting. And if they follow through next time, then this could be a good episode. It just really depends. It doesn't stand well on its own, but if it's just kind of the prequel to next time, which is really good, then it's fine.
One thing I really, really, really did like is what they continue to do throughout this season, which seems like I'm kicking Clara out. So we can talk about Clara before we talk about Maisie Williams.
Sure.
Clara he's worried about losing another person, and he deals with that a lot. And I think they're approaching that in a really mature, in a really good way. It's really like you feel really bad, and they also go back to because he ends up finding out where his face comes from. But besides the point, so you see Tennant and you see Donna after he's talking about losing people, and it kind of made you remember how he loses Donna, which makes you feel even worse about. I don't know. They framed it in a really nice way to make it seem like, yeah, Clara is leaving this season, and we're building it to make sure that you know how much this affects the Doctor whenever that happens. Honestly, it sounds like they're setting it up so that she dies.
She's either going to die or she's going to... it'll be something tragic. I don't think she's going to have a positive ending. I guess I could be wrong, but it seems to me that they're definitely setting up to be maybe the worst companion departure that he's ever had to deal with, because they're building it up so much, and they can't just have a normal, oh, I have to leave, oh, I can't stay, whatever. Yeah. They have to have either her die or the Doctor realize she's putting herself in so much danger that he has to leave her behind, and that would be a pretty tragic thing. I think he may abandon her.
Yeah. If I had to pick, I don't think they have the balls to kill Clara. I wish they would. And it's not because I hate Clara. It's because I think it'd be a really, really strong writing point. And I think it would be very good for the character development of the Doctor at this point, because he hasn't really lost a person close to him in a really long time. Pretty much the last impactful one was Amy and Rory, and they were fine. They had a happy ending. Yeah. It was just without him.
It was sad for him, and that's fine. That was a good way to end them, I think.
And that was a fantastic way to end it. But you can see how much he cares about Clara, which makes me give a shit about how she ends now. Because last season I didn't care.
I didn't either, and honestly, we talked about it in the previous reviews for this season. Clara's character this season is actually getting really good. Yeah. I like how she's appearing. She's becoming more Doctor-like, but not in an annoying way. I felt kind of like last season in Flatline, which was also written by Jamie Matheson, actually. Yeah. She was doing the whole acting like the Doctor thing, but there it was annoying. There it felt forced. Here, when she gets beamed up to the Viking spaceship,
that was a good scene. I really liked that scene. Actually, Maisie Williams kind of ruined the scene for me, and not because of what she ends up doing, which is basically teasing them into a fight, but I don't know, for some reason she just felt out of place.
Yeah, I liked Clara in that scene because it felt like it's something the Doctor would do, but she wasn't pretending to be the Doctor. She was genuinely being confident and trying to sneakily say something. Now, Maisie Williams' character came in and felt kind of like a Scrappy-Doo-esque character who was, threatening the big bad guy without the ability to back up the claims.
It was very
you know what
Scrappy-Doo.
I mean?
That's a perfect analogy, yeah.
I know. I don't like characters who do that in anything.
And maybe that's why I didn't like that. To your point, it wasn't her pretending to be Doctor-like. It seemed like she really was like, no, I can handle this. I've done this a million times. Because what she did do was, remember that stupid teaser after Dark Waters, and it was like, I'm the Doctor, and she was trying to trick the Cybermen. That I didn't like. And I also didn't like the thing that she did in Kill the Moon, for example, where she just kind of like makes her own decision. But this one, it felt, I don't know, her character is just so much better. It's so much more properly written than it used to be.
I agree. I did want to point out real quick the sonic sunglasses that got broken in this episode. Yeah. Whether you love them or hate them, they are going to be back next time. Yeah. I thought this was going to be the end of them, but in the next time trailer, I noticed that they are back. So I guess they are probably here to stay for the season at least. I'd like him to get a screwdriver back, but whatever. We were on the topic, so I just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah, I hope he gets a screwdriver too. So on to Maisie Williams, which is kind of the crux. It seems like she just kind of is more in tune with premonition, and he kind of has it's not a throwaway line, but it's a quick line, how premonition is just remembering in the wrong order, which is interesting because it's timey-wimey, and that's very Doctor Who. And so it seems like she can, do that a little bit. She's not like a psychic or anything. It's not like it was in some of the Tenet episodes, especially, the one where they have, like, the Ghost Whisperer. I don't know. Is she special, or is she just, like, creative?
I think they're going to explain
tell.
it. Honestly, I think that's going to be a line that's going to make more sense next time. I think
It
they're
might
going
be right.
Because honestly, I'll tell you my theory right now, and I'll get it out. Because at the end of this episode, which we can talk about a little later on, but the Doctor uses that alien technology to make her functionally immortal.
Yeah.
Which is one of the stupidest things, not story-wise, I think it's interesting story-wise, but as a character, like, that's a really stupid plan. What a terrible idea.
Well, at least though, it was brought in, because the reason he comes to that conclusion is because he sees his face in the reflection of the water, and he remembers why he got his own face, which is, I like the reason that they gave, is because he was the one exception with the Tenet and the Donna episode when Pompeii went up. And she's like, just one family, save one. It won't change that much. And so Capaldi in that episode played the guy that was the one exception. And so they described this face as the one exception. Like, remember that you can make exceptions sometimes. So he made Maisie Williams the exception. And it was good. But at least he brought up the fact that this could have been really, really dumb. But he just, like, got caught up in the moment and didn't want to lose anyone.
I guess, as far as the face thing goes, I thought that was actually a pretty weak reason. I think that was kind of... Yeah, because still there's another character that looks like him in the Doctor Who universe now, which was Frobisher from Torchwood, and that doesn't explain it. I'm hoping that this is just his explanation for the moment, and they get a little bit more into it later. But I did like that this was a kind of a... If you remember in Waters of Mars, the Tenet episode, at the end he kind of decided, I'm the last Time Lord, I can do whatever I want, I don't have to follow the rules anymore. Sure. That blew up in his face there. This felt like a mini version of that, because at the end of his realizing where his face came from, he basically decided, you know what, fuck this whole only making ripples, don't make a tidal wave, no one can tell me how to follow the rules anymore. And he literally says out loud, if anyone's watching, the hell with you, which seems like an odd line in context that we have right now, but I have a feeling that by the end of the season, Gallifrey is going to come back, and the Time Lords were watching, and I think they're going to say, no, you made a really bad decision, it's time for a trial or something.
Well, and that, I was going to say, and that would be a really good, because our theory kind of leading into this was based upon whispers and rumors that we had heard about casting and different titles for things. It seems like he might be put on trial, and the second to last episode is only him. So maybe he's in a cell talking to himself about this, about his past lives and his past mistakes, and then the last one's a trial or something, which would actually be very interesting. Can you imagine a Doctor Who courtroom drama?
They did it in Classic Who with right,
but Classic Who, come on,
the trial of a Time Lord.
Classic Who is good for canon. It's not good for acting.
Okay, it depends on what you're talking about. There's a lot of years of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
As far as, this is more interesting. The actual fact that he did that and put that on her forehead and made her functionally immortal. What's interesting here is the words he used to describe her at the end of the episode, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I obsess, so here's what I noticed. He says, she's functionally a hybrid.
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember in the second episode of this season where there was the Gallifreyan prophecy about the Doctor possibly making a hybrid of two warrior races and creating something terrible?
That's exactly what he did then.
Yeah, it's weird that they would use the word hybrid here. It seems so strange, so I think they're alluding to that. I don't know if she's going to end up being a red herring for the prophecy in the same way that Davros was in episode 2, but it seems like the season arc is coming to tie together this whole prophecy and the confession dial and losing Clara. It's all starting to come together.
Next episode's our halfway point, so I mean we should be at the apex of this kind of thing, and then we should ride it down the rest of the way, which is generally how Doctor Who goes. So I think the way he says it, now that you mention that, the delivery of it seems like he remembers that was something that he wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah,
like because he says out loud, like, I could have just made a huge mistake.
Yeah, because she's now immortal. And you remember how much he didn't like Jack Harkness for a while when he found out he was immortal. It's weird that he's made such this switch, and I honestly think that you can tell from the little thing at the end where it shows like ages and eons happening, and she's still alive or whatever.
She gets a little mad.
She's smiling at first, but when it comes back around, her face is like very stern. I'm assuming she's going to be a villain now. I think she's going to be mad at the Doctor for forcing eternity upon her, basically.
I think I'm okay with that. That's interesting because, like, he was indirectly responsible for Harkness because of Rose.
Yeah.
But I know you said that's like a weird change, but I mean, he was the face of Bo at the end, so like, as far as his consequences are concerned, turned out okay.
I guess.
Sexy bisexual Jack Harkness for eternity, then he turns into a giant head that's very helpful and kind.
I guess so. I like that the Doctor, the discussions he has about what it's like that living forever doesn't
really
feel
good.
like living forever. It's watching other people die. Very good. That's well written. Again, this episode.
And the way he delivers that though, and he's talking to Clara about it because basically they're having a discussion about he doesn't want to lose her, so she should go, and he keeps trying to get her to like slow her roll and pick up other hobbies. Like they bring up the hobby thing twice. When he says that, he does it with this look on his face. He's such a good actor, Capaldi. And he goes, or so I hear, or something like that, to the effect of like, you know, yes, I do know how it feels, exactly how it feels, but, you know, I'm trying to not make you feel like shit about it because I'm going to lose you, but I don't want it to be on you, it's on me sort of thing. I don't know. His character is just so good this year.
I would argue that they kind of made a little bit of a, not necessarily plot hole, I don't know how to describe it, but he seems so worried about losing Clara this season, and in this episode he came upon possession of something that can make a person functionally immortal, and he doesn't seem to care about using it. So why doesn't he just put one in Clara? You know what I mean?
No, I know. It's not really a plot hole, but I think he doesn't love Maisie Williams. He loves Clara, and I don't think he would wish that on anyone that he loves. You know what I mean?
See, that just makes it more
in his
fucked
head
up
he
that
knows
he
this is
realizes
totally
how bad
fucked
it
up.
is. You know?
He knows it's fucked up.
I don't know.
Because he says it.
Yeah, I don't know what... It was a little strange that he did that. I'm assuming it's a moment of he was just going a little crazy and he's going to regret it in the next episode.
He says as much. So, I mean, it's not as big a hole. Like, at least they wrote about the hole they made, so they filled it in a little bit. You know what I mean? It's not bad. It would be bad if he's like, blah, 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 I'm going to miss you if you die, and then here's the thing that could make you immortal. I don't care. But they addressed it, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So basically what I would say is the bulk of the episode, the actual plot of the whole Viking village thing, it was okay. The humor was there. The emo baby poetry was a little strange.
I didn't like that the baby was his epiphany thing, even though I'm pretty sure I thought it was going to be as soon as they said fire in the water or whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, that's the thing, which is fine, whatever. But I liked the first time he listened to the baby because it was like this, you're going to fucking die moment. And he's like, just, I don't know. It was very like, Mom, just look at my face. Your face is beautiful. Like I like that part, but the other part where the baby's like wise.
It was it's just
the baby has no life experience whatsoever. That baby should be thinking two things: titties and shitting my pants.
Yeah, sometimes at the same time.
I'm sucking a titty and shitting my pants like that. Come on, they're living the dream.
Yeah, but, you know, the comedy was still there. All the jokes this season have been great. Capaldi's performance has continued to shine through in pretty much everything, showing that yo-yo again. I like that he keeps bringing that yo-yo. That was funny. But yeah, the next time trailer is pretty much just, it's a couple hundred years in the future. Maisie Williams is still alive. There's some sort of fire-breathing lion man or something. And the Doctor's going to show up.
It must be much further into the future, and it would be interesting because now that we know that she's functionally immortal, I like that we keep saying functionally immortal just because he did, by the way.
Well, yeah, but that's what it is. She can die.
I know.
Like, if she were, like, thrown in lava, I assume she would die. But
right, but, like, sure, her body's not going to break down. But, yeah, the same cat people, it looks like the same cat people that took care of the face of Bo. I mean, that's kind of a nice juxtaposition if you're doing that. And this is just my little wet dream that's never going to happen. But having some Jack kind of talk to someone that's also immortal that shouldn't have been would be interesting. I don't think they're going to bring Barrowman back for it, but that would be a really good conversation. All three of them talking about immortality, and only one of them was supposed to have it, and he hates it.
Yeah,
that would be really interesting.
That'd be really cool if they could get him in at the end. I'm assuming there's going to be conflict between her and the Doctor. I have kind of here's one of my maybe theories. This is a total stretch, and I'm just connecting dots that might not be connected at all.
Okay.
For some reason, I'm thinking, what if she not only is in the next episode, but she returns nearer to the end of the season, and it's the present day, still functionally immortal, and she's the Minister of War. Yeah. I don't know.
That could be.
I won't know her motivations really until the next episode, so I can't say
Right.
for sure why she would ever be mad at the Doctor or whatever, other than just, the
I mean,
immortal
right
thing.
now it's clearly going to be like a revenge sort of fuck you for fucking me over thing. Like, I had to watch everyone I've ever loved die sort of thing. But at the same time, it's like, but he gave you a thing to save at least one person to keep with you forever sort of deal. I don't know. Like, that was at least a little compassionate because he knows how bad it is to not have that.
I'm assuming in the next episode, though, that'll be used in a way we don't expect. It seems like they wouldn't write in that he gave her that if it wasn't going to be something important. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, they might, I don't know, might use it to save somebody else.
Yeah.
Could use it to save Clara, which would be really interesting.
Maybe use it to save someone that really should die. You know what I mean? Maybe someone who's bad. Someone who maybe will become the Minister of War or whatever in the future.
That'd be interesting.
I don't know. It'll be interesting. So not a whole lot happened. There were some good Doctor bits, though. I mean, I actually liked the opening, too, where it started sort of in the end of another adventure that we didn't see.
I always like when they do that. That's always really fun. And they kind of have some banter about it, and they're like, blah, 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 blah. But they're going to, what are they going to do? And he's like, well, I took him halfway across the galaxy. Like, that's fun. Yeah. I like the idea that they do stuff without us sort of thing, because they should.
Yeah.
And I also like that they keep bringing that spacesuit back.
Yeah, I think it started off as a budgetary thing. Once they had the spacesuits, they wanted to use them, but now it's more like Moffat's like, oh, okay, let's get that spacesuit back in there.
Honestly, I can't get enough of, well, I could get enough, but at this pace, it's just a really satisfying, like, Doctor Who artifacts within the TARDIS are always fucking cool.
So I think that's it. I mean, really? Not a whole lot happened. The scene at the end with Capaldi was cool. I thought the face thing was a little underwhelming, and I hope there's more to it.
The aliens were okay. I mean, they were neat looking.
I liked the look of the aliens once they took the helmet off. It was kind of weird and very alien. That was cool. The suit design didn't really make sense when you saw their faces, though. It's like, why are you carrying like hundreds of extra pounds when your head isn't as big as this thing?
I suppose, but Daleks.
Sure, I guess.
But no, I would watch this again because I really do think that the second half is gonna Batman Begins it.
Sure.
Where we go back and look at it and we're like, we'll watch it. It's fun.
Yeah, part 2 is going to make or break this. And the Moffat seasons usually... I say usually the payoffs aren't as good, but this season so far they have been. So who knows? Right. This episode isn't bad by any stretch, but it's certainly not like something that I'd be like, oh, what a great episode. It was just like,
and I think it's just a consequence of making 2-parters at this point. Like the first episode, every single time we watch these and we talk about them, we're like, I don't know where this is going, and then it comes to somewhere, and so far the payoffs have been good, and then we're like, okay, they're good. It's a good one whole episode for an hour and a half.
Pretty much.
You know what I mean? So I think pretty much all our reviews are gonna go like this pretty consistently for the season. Every 2-parter, we're gonna go, I don't know about the first one, and then the second one is, if it pays off, we'll be like, okay, deal. Because if we had because we did both parts of the last 2 episodes at the same time in one review last time, if we had only done the first one, both of us would have been like, I don't know, Ghost Doctor. You know what I mean?
You're probably right. That makes sense. I guess that makes sense. It's just
so it's like a half-completed work that we're judging right now, so it's kind of hard to give it a hard score, but as it stands as a standalone, 6.5, 7.
Sure, I'd give it that. And then hopefully, maybe next week we'll bump it up to an 8 or so. I don't know.
If it's really great payoff, it could be up to an 8.5. Because it wasn't spectacular. It definitely wasn't the first 2 episodes. But I
think what we have now is an opportunity to have a new Doctor Who villain that could stand the test of time, because the idea that the Doctor created an immortal villain himself out of this sense of responsibility for their death, that could be a villain that could endure even beyond this series and this whole,
And Maisie Williams is pretty young, and she's a good actress, so if her character turns out to be interesting enough, wouldn't hate if she stuck around. What I think, though, is she's not going to stick around.
No,
I think she's going to be mercy killed or something, because that's kind of like how they... Like, she might actually be at the cat's place because they were with the Face of Bo trying to figure out how she can die.
I don't know. Maybe.
That makes sense?
If it is the same cat people, it would kind of make sense. From what I've seen, it appears that the cat has come to her time period and not the other way around. So.
Could be.
I don't know. Anyway, so that's this episode. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm glad we could get this one out sooner this time. In a much
and
more
it'll be like
manner.
this all the time forever from now on.
Yeah, If you want, you can always check us out on Twitter at @TheRealUnpop.
You could always subscribe, and you could catch more of our Who Cares series, and you could also catch some stuff we do like Goosebumps or Showering with Dads.
You can
but
always...
like on the video game, not in real life.
Well, also in real life, but that's not
Everyone needs a little
dad
dad dick.
You can always check us out on Patreon if you like the show and want to support it. That'd be great. If not, that's cool. I get it. So, thanks everyone. Until next time, I'm Hugo.
And I am Jake.
And this has been Who Cares?